I know there are couples in Singapore, lesbian couples who might have adopted, or other people in relationships, they share a flat, for example. Those cases, I think, you might be a bit trickier. So a lot of the legality of this has to be a lot more explicit on our part. Unless you are like on bad terms with your family, or you don't want certain assets to go to certain people in your family, then of course you have to, be very intentional, give specific instructions. For the LGBTQ plus community, if you want to talk about lasting power of attorney, if you're in the hospital, you want your partner to have full access to your decisions and concerns, you have to be really explicit. And you really have to draw up like actual legal documents, I think. If not, then the default will kick in. And if you're not on good terms with family, or if you're even estranged, for example, then I think there's a potential chance that your partner would be not allowed in the ICU, for instance, and stuff like that. Now that I think about it, if I were in a long-term committed relationship, or if I'm living with my partner, if I even have an adopted child, then yes, technically that would really ring a lot of alarm bells.
I can foresee there will be a lot of difficulty for most of the Malay Muslim community who identify as queer, trying to plan ahead if they want to. Imagine if you are a lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender person, regardless of your skin, if you have your will set up with the lawyers and everything is ironclad. You're well protected. But for a person like me who's brown, Malay individual, who is in a relationship with his partner, this is a different kind of issue that we are trying to hurdle, because there is a separate law that works that applies for us.
Farah 8th law means it's different from the law of the country. It's in place whereby males in the family, the next of kin, gets a higher share of your assets when you pass. But for someone like me who's not straight, it doesn't apply, or it's not relevant to me, because I'm not close to my dad. The closest I am with is my partner.
It's a very intricate, complex issue where the law is, to me, I feel, is so vague that doesn't give us room to find an answer to it. And that keeps us from planning ahead. So I was hoping that maybe I need to do more of reading, need to reach out to more lawyers, or maybe there is a loophole in the system, But then again, coming from a Malay community-wise, we don't have that privilege at all of discussing on what's to plan ahead for LGBTQ couples or singles who wants to plan for themselves.
I think what we can do is to give people a lot more choice by giving people options of what if your family or your blood relatives are not your default option. You can also streamline and make it a lot easier and less threatening, I think, if you have like an option where it says maybe companion or your partner, and this person might not necessarily be legally tied to you. Just that one option, I think, would open up so many doors, and for a lot of minorities and the LGBTQ plus community, I think it's a lifeline. Like for trans people, having that extra X on your IDs and passport, it's really a game changer. So like for legacy planning, I think just having an extra option that is not the convention will really throw a lot of minorities and people who don't fit in your cookie cutter convention a huge sigh of relief. Yeah.
From what I observe on the ground up, I don't see that much of a discussion. So that's why I posed a question to on my social media and asked, like, are you guys even aware that Farah applies for the Malay queer community? And based on the response, some of them were saying that I thought just the circular wheel was more than enough to, apply for us. But when it comes to the Farah, it's a different separate law that is so, I would say some of them has been very fake. And I believe that, hoping that anyone who has the access to the information able to share it with the community.
In terms of giving resources, information, directions, I was just on Facebook and saw this call for, participation. Yeah, so by chance, there is an avenue for me to go to and say like, hey, there are these people who can, probably give me some information, and I can share with other people what are my struggles, my concern being bisexual, or being Muslim, female, and then having worry that all these struggles in my head, but nowhere to go to. So having a platform or a resource, or even people, whatever it is, to give that comfort, that clarity, and telling people like me out there, I'm not alone. There are avenues to share what I can and can't do. So it's more giving people clarity.